Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Piglet charm. In order to make this, you will need two black rubber bands, approximately 85 of the light pink rubber bands. These were the ones that came in the Rainbow Loom skin colored package. There was one that was a very pale pink, and that's what I used for the legs and arms and face. And then you will need approximately 80 of a darker pink rubber band. If you don't have the skin color, as long as you just use two different colored pinks, whichever one's darker I would use for the ears and the body. So if you want to go ahead and get your supplies together, and we'll go ahead and get started and work on our charm. So the first part that we're going to be working on today would be the ears and the arms. I've already made one of each, so I will go ahead and make one of each with you, and then you can pause the video and make the second one. So for the ear, we're actually going to be using the darker pink color, so whichever one is your darker pink, those are the ones you'll want to grab. We're going to be starting at the top of the loom, and you're going to go from the center peg to the left with one rubber band, and the center peg to the right with another. We're then going to come down these next two pegs with a single double, so you're going to take a single, double it, and repeat that again, single, double. Do that on the other side. You're then going to take another single and double it. You're going to bring it from the third left peg down to the fifth center peg. So instead of this one here, you're going to skip down one. And that is a single double. Do that on the other side as well. We're then going to come straight down the center here with single bands. So one single band, another single, another single, and another single here. And we're going to be adding one more from this peg to this peg, which will be a single double. And that is what you should have. And you're going to go ahead and cap off this band here 3 times to create 4 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to place some crossover bands. So on these 3 pegs here, it's a single. And on the next one up, these 3 here, it's a single double. Once you've done that, we can go ahead and begin looping. You're going to go under the capping band, bringing your first set of bands forward. Then going in here, grab the top single band, pulling it forward. Go back in, grab the first set of double bands, bringing it to the right, and do that again on the left. Oh, lost the band. And then we're going to go ahead and bring it straight up the center. And these should be pretty easy because they're just single bands. I'm losing bands today. And then you're going to come up the side. And do that as well on the left. Once you've done that, we can go ahead and take it off the loom. Start from the bottom. You want to pull gently because the bands are very tight. And we don't want to stretch it any more than it's already stretched out. Or break any bands for that matter. And once you have it off the loom, just take it off and stretch it out a little. Okay, there's one of the ears. And you want to go ahead and set that aside. Now we're going to work on the arm. And on the arm, you're going to be using the lighter pink colored. You're going to start off with 2 bands on the top peg. 2 more bands. Then going to switch to 3 bands. And 3 bands. And you want to cap that off twice to create 3 loops. So 1, 2, 3. And while we're doing this, we can also create the extension for the face. It's a little tiny piece here. Same color, the light pink. 2 bands. 2 more. And then cap it off twice to create 3 loops. And then we can go ahead and loop those up. These bands do not want to stay still tonight. And then we can go ahead and remove those from the loom as well. And set those aside for later. Okay, the next part that we are going to work on is going to be the middle body extensions that come around here. You'll be using your dark pink for that. So you're going to come down from the top with 2 bands on the left. And you're going to come down 3 times. So 2 bands and 2 bands. You want to do the same thing on the right. And you then want to cap off the bottom of both twice to create 3 loops. So 1, 2, 3. Same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3. We are then going to place 2 crossover bands onto here. So you're going from these 3 pegs here with 1 single, and these 3 here with another single. Once you've done that, and we can go ahead and loop that up. So just go into the capping band and come forward. And then you can remove that. And you can just set this aside for later. Now we're ready to go ahead and start with the layout for Piglet. We're going to start at the top of our loom with the lighter pink rubber bands. And unless I specify otherwise, we will be using double bands. So coming from the top to the left, and the same thing on the right. You're then going to come down 2 with double rubber bands. And then coming down 2 on the right. And then bringing it to the center peg. Then we're going to go ahead and fill in the center with double bands. Then we're going to go into the shoulders with the darker pink. So you need 2 bands going out to the left, 2 bands to the right. And then we're coming down 5 on the left with double bands, 2 bands, 2 bands, 2 bands, and 2 bands. Do the same thing on the right hand side. And then bringing it into the center. And then we're going to fill in the middle. So coming off this peg here, the chin peg, coming down with 2 bands. You're then going to switch to 3 bands. Three more bands. 3 bands again. 3 bands. And then for the last one, we'll switch back to 2 bands. Then we're going to fill in the legs. We're going to switch back to the light pink. Coming down from the left with 2 bands. 2 bands. And you're going to just bring those all the way down to this end of the loom. Repeat that on the right hand side. And this is what you should have. Now we're going to go ahead and place some of our attachments. So go ahead and grab the ears, Piglet's ears. I'm just placing these on the hook. And the ears will go on these top 2 pegs. So the first one on the left and the first one on the right. There is 6 bands total, so just make sure that they're all on the hook. Do the same thing on the other one. There's his ears. Now we're also going to need to place the body extension that we had done. So go ahead and grab that. The top portion that you have on the hook, that's the side that came off the loom from the top, not the capping bands, are actually going to be placed on the bottom. So I'm going to spin my loom upside down These bottom bands are going to be placed on this peg and this peg. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th peg from the bottom of the loom. You're going to place 4 of those bands, so one side of it onto here, and the other side onto here. Once you've done that, place your hook through the triple capping band that we had used. Make sure you have all 3 on your hook. And you're bringing that up three pegs. So this is what we originally hooked to. Come up 1, 2, 3, and hook that band to there. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now we need to pull the holding rubber bands that we had in the middle up some. These 2 bands here are going to act like the crossover bands for this triangle here. So you want to pull one band up over this peg, one above where we attached the body attachment. And then these 2 bands are acting like the one above it. So we're going to pull all of these up around these pegs here, and that one can stay there. Now you want to go ahead and grab the 2 face extensions we had made, and those are going to go on these 2 pegs here. So the top portion where it was pulled off the loom will go on the 2nd peg from the top. And you can attach them both, one on each side. And then sticking our hook through the triple band and attaching it to the peg below. Then we'll go ahead and attach the arms. They are going on the 2 shoulder pegs, so that is the 4th peg down from the top. And then there's one other attachment we need to make, which is actually the bottom of the leg and the foot. I've already made one of those right here, and I'm going to show you how to make this. Using your hook, grab a single light colored pink band, create 4 loops. You're then going to take 2 light colored bands and pull these onto there. And once you've done that, you should be able to let go without it falling off. Take 1 dark pink band, create 4 loops, and then pull this back onto here. Grab 2 more light pink bands, and you're going to pull all of this onto there. The easiest way to do that, I find, is to pull it in sections. And go ahead and pull that back on. And then we're going to pull those onto another double band. And you want to try and make sure they're not twisted. And this right here creates the foot. We're going to place these onto the very last peg. at the bottom. You also want to place a capping band right here, a triple band, triple loops. 1, 2, and 3. We also need to create the eyes. So take your hook and a single black band, create 4 loops. Using a light pink single double, and pull the black on, and you will be placing that on the center second peg to the left second peg. And do that again, so 4 loops. Single band, double it. And this goes on the second right peg to the second center. We also need to create the snout. In order to do that, you're going to take a dark pink band, create 4 loops, and pull that onto 2 light pink bands. And then pulling that onto a single light pink band. And that will go from the 3rd peg from the top on the right to the 3rd peg down on the left. And then pulling, you go from the middle here like this. So 1 band comes up over that 3rd middle peg, and then just pull the snout up and over so it rests on top of this peg here. Now we need to place some crossover bands. At the very top, starting right here, we're going to take a single light pink band, double it, creating a triangle around the eyes, a single light colored band around the next set of pegs, coming down into the body with your dark pink on right below the shoulder pegs, right below the arms. This right here is going to be a single double on this triangle here. This next one is going to be what I call a single half double. So you're actually going to take a single band across, twist it, and then instead of bringing it all the way back, we're just going to bring it up to the center peg. So you see here, we're only halfway doubling it. We already have our 2 holding bands here that we built into this outside body frame. So coming down here, we're going to create another single half double. So take your single, coming across, twist it, and then only bringing it back onto one of those pegs. And this is what you should have. Now, once everything's in place, we can go ahead and begin to loop. So starting at the bottom, we're going to go underneath the feet, grabbing the bottom bands, and we're going to go ahead and just come all the way up to here. And then go ahead and do that on the other side. We're then going to come in underneath the capping band, grabbing the top 2 bands, which should be going forward. Go back in and to your left, and back in and to the right. And we can then go ahead and loop straight up the middle. Come back down, going through all of these bands here. Make sure you're only grabbing the bottom two. And pull gently because they are going to be very tight. And then come straight up. And we want to do the same thing on the other side. Now we want to go ahead into the neckband here, and we only want to grab the top two bands, which should be the ones going forward right here. So I'm going to turn to the side so that I can see a little bit better. Pushing down and only grabbing the center bands, and you want to pull gently out because of the amount of bands that are there. You're then going to go back in, grabbing the next two bands, which looks like mine go to the left, and then the last two going to the right. We can then go ahead and loop straight up the center. And I usually go in, a lot of people, other loomers and stuff like to do this last, but I don't like having to yank body parts out when I come off the loom. So I will go ahead and try to pull the snout through now before things get super tight when we pull it off. Just at least so it won't get hidden down inside of him. Make sure when you go for this last band, you're not grabbing any of the eye bands either. You want to just grab those bottom two. Now go in, back to your right hand side, go underneath. We're only grabbing the bottom two. Same thing with the next one. And the last one. And then repeat that for the other side. And then you just want to take a look back through, make sure you have teardrops all the way down. Go ahead and grab a single light colored pink band. Go through all of the top bands, back to the top. Create your slip knot. And then we are ready to remove it from the loom. Once he's off the loom, I'm going to go ahead and stretch him out a little. If you have any flyaway bands up here in the ears, you can just reach in from the back and just pull them in a little bit. And go ahead and just push the eyes out. You want to grab the snout, pull that out some, stretch out his arms, his legs. Now on the bottom part, what you want to do is flip him over. Come back here, you're going to see there's a set of bands here. You're looking for these bands here, right above. Stick your hook in the back and pull. What this does is it creates his flat foot. There. Do the same thing on the other side. See, that gives him his feet. And then for the snout, we want to actually grab one more light pink band. Go ahead and make sure that these pinks are bunched up in the middle. And we are going to wrap this, depending on the type of band you're using, how many times you can wrap it. You don't want to go too tight or it gets it pinched, a very pinched look, and we don't want to pinch it off. But with my bands, I can usually go around 3. And that right there creates the snout. If you want, you can hide the top band. Just reach in the back. And pull it down. And there he is. I hope you like him. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share with your other friends.